We are live after watching two amazing games on this fantastic Sunday. The Knicks and Sixers. The Knicks beat the Sixers 97-92. Jalen Brunson, 47-point performance. But the first game we're going to talk about, because it was the game of the day, was the Mavericks and the Clippers. The Clippers beat the Mavs 116-111. This game was so awesome because at one point the Clippers were up by 31. And then the Mavericks made a comeback, eventually took the lead, but then the Clippers came away out on top. You know, Riv, I'll let you go first. The Clippers 2-0 without Kawhi, 0-2 with Kawhi. Is this a series that Kawhi, he just got to sit out for the rest of the series at this rate?
Well, I was on the phone with my brother Lawrence Frank, big guy over there in LA. He said they're going to bring Kawhi back when he's fully ready. They're not going to rush it. They don't care what happens. His health is the most important thing for them. So I doubt he comes back for the series. So it's looking like it's going to be PG and Harden versus Luka and Kyrie. And if you're a Clippers fan, you're excited.
That's all we need.
Like,
That's all we fucking need.
Listen. And, I'm sure you're going to talk about how the Mavericks won the third quarter. You're probably going to go on that spiel again and talk about how they were amazing. I want to touch on something that Dell said before because it was really important. He said, I think it was after game 2, if I believe. He said, the Dallas Mavericks one of the best clutch teams in the league. He trusts them more in the clutch. And I think this game, for them to lose that 31-point lead, at a point it was tie game. You get into clutch basketball, and you just seen Harden, then PG. They start to get some stops. I mean, first of all, this game was a elite, just tough shot making game, like one of the best tough shot making games I've seen, from Kyrie to Harden to Luka to PG to even Derrick Jones Jr. to Norman Powell. Like, these dudes was just hitting shots out the ass. We saw great defense from both teams individually. It's just some of these shots were amazing. It's just.
Did we see great defense,
Riv?
No,
I'm talking about in the fourth, brother. Not in that first half. No. In the first
what
half,
about in that fourth? In that fourth quarter? Oof, I don't know.
And this is why and me and Dels was talking about this yesterday in the apartment. This is why I don't think the Mavericks are that good. You just can't come out like that in the first half and be down 30 to a team that's missing their best player. Like, I get it. They have the ability to put on these defensive clinics, but what makes great teams is consistency from top to bottom. You have to be wired in from quarter 1 to quarter 4. In 2 games where they're literally missing the best player on the team, they have come out and they're down 30. Now they have to make this comeback. You see them make the comeback in this game, but that defensive performance from PJ Washington, where he's just pressing Harden, then allowing him to get past him. I get he's forcing him to the right hand, but there is no rim pressure. There's no help defense. Then you had Luka catching fouls early, so he couldn't really play defense to the best of his ability. It was just an all-around tough game. Shout out to PG for bouncing back, Harden and willing him in the clutch. I'm excited. Going back 2-2, going back to LA. Obviously, not having Kawhi is pretty big, but you're playing with house money right now. You're the team that's the underdog. You have all the momentum in the world. You just came back. You split it 1-1 like you wanted to do. I understand the 3-point variance. The Clippers kind of were on a hot streak in the first half. They kind of hit a lot of threes, and the Dallas Mavericks, they live or die by the 3-point line. But credit to the Clippers defense, credit to their fourth quarter, credit to the fact that they didn't budge or they didn't panic when they lost that 31-point lead. They just kept the composure, kept pace. Shout out to Ty Lue. And I'm excited, man. 2-2 going back to the Clippers. I laugh at shit like this, man, because this is funny to me.
The overreaction is crazy from you, Riv. What I want you to do, I want you to keep the same energy, because when the Clippers lose this series, I don't want any excuses. It was because they don't have Kawhi Leonard, because we just seen 2 games that they have won without Kawhi Leonard. So based on how you guys are laughing and mocking the Mavericks right now, I want y'all to keep that same energy. The fourth quarter was amazing. It's one of the best fourth quarters I've seen in my life. Kyrie Irving's tough shot making after tough shot making. James Harden's left-hand floater blowing by whatever defender, whether it was Luka, PJ, that was the main 2. Really, what I come away questioning is the plan of Jason Kidd to have Maxey at the 5. Because on defense, the game plan was to funnel James Harden to his right side, giving him an open lane and drawing him to the help defense. But on each drive, Maxey wasn't up enough because he was going to give up a lob. At that point, I think the lively minutes have been great. Gafford was fine today. I feel like at that point, you have to put a rim protector out there. Paul George hitting that 3-point shot on the right corner over Derrick Jones Jr. I point to that moment, and I think that was the moment that won the Clippers a game. If he misses that shot, I think they lose. I think him making that shot over Derrick Jones Jr., who just played elite defense, couldn't play better defense than that. Him hitting that shot, I think that pretty much sealed the game. Luka has to play better. 1 for 9 from 3 today. Game 3, he was 3 for 12. He hasn't shot well from 3 at all this series. He has to play better. I'm not sure if he's still dealing with his knee issue. That's holding him back a little bit. I don't feel like he's moving the same. He needs to play with some more urgency. I've seen somewhere that he was a little bit sick. I don't know how true that is. Bottom line is he has to play better. But this was the game that Kyrie Irving showcased exactly why the Mavericks went out and got him. Because he took over in that second half. In the second quarter, he willed the Mavericks to even get within distance to make that second half comeback. That's one of the best games that I've seen. And shout out to both teams. I feel like the Mavericks played a heck of a game. The resiliency to come back, how much they were down 31 points. And then for the Clippers, weathering the storm, each run that was made, Paul George, James Harden with 33, 6, and 11. If Russell Westbrook has some really timely plays, this was an awesome game all around.
Mr. Delimart, would you like to go?
No, go ahead. We could go Mavs, non-Mavs, back and forth.
First off, let's say this. The Mavericks won the second half, right? Credit to them. They really came out here, and they won the second half. But you know what? That's not good for winning entire ball games. All jokes aside, they went out there and they put on a game.
Unless you're the Nuggets.
Yeah, next time don't stutter.
The Nuggets.
The one thing I'll say about
3-1.
this, credit to the Mavericks, because now this is twice where they've put themselves in this situation, and twice they've made a pretty valiant effort at making this full-blown comeback. This one a lot closer, obviously, because they actually did end up taking the lead down 31. But Riv, you said it perfectly. Without Kawhi Leonard, it's irresponsible that you're putting yourselves in this situation. You're on your home court. You have a chance to really put your stamp on this series, go up 3-1. You cannot come out the gates this sloppy, this sluggish. So the fact that you did come back, yes, I will tip my cap to you. But again, you shouldn't be putting yourselves in this situation in the first place. Kyrie Irving. Unbelievable this series. Every game he's been reliable. He's been clutch, hitting huge shots down the stretch. This fourth quarter is going to be one that we're probably going to be talking about when the playoffs are over. We're still going to be talking about this game and how exciting it was. We got 6 Hall of Famers. We have big shot after big shot, and you have a 31-point blown lead for the game to be as close as it was in the fourth quarter. Paul George, who started off the game amazingly, kind of came out in that second half a little sluggish too, hitting that step back fall away 3. I feel like that's where we really saw the momentum go full circle. But I'd be damned if I didn't call you and talk to you, Mr. Moran. Days like today, I wish so terribly you never turned your back on James Harden.
How'd I turn my back on James Harden?
I would have loved.
I didn't see you talk about him too much.
I did. I credit him for his clutch shot making.
Let me finish.
No. Because how did I turn my back on James Harden?
I would have
tell me.
I would have loved to see the emotion, the passion out of you after this James Harden masterclass, where it's one-on-one every single time. And with Luka Doncic, Riv, you're right. He was in foul trouble, so he couldn't really overcommit on defense. But even when they put PJ Washington onto him, he was just getting to the cup at will. 5 for 6 down the stretch, 13 fourth quarter points, clutch at the free throw line at the end of the game. I would have loved to see you go on a James Harden tirade. He goes and puts on one of the best performances that we've seen out of Harden in the playoffs. This is a do or die situation too. You lose this game. You were up 31 points. Now we're choking this game. We're down 3-1 going back to crypto.com. The series at that point, we're looking at the Mavericks putting this one away. James Harden. With Paul George not playing at that same level that he played in that first half, although obviously was clutch, did hit a big-time shots down the stretch, James Harden put the team on his shoulders. I would have loved to hear you go crazy on this Harden masterclass. It's a shame. It's a shame you You don't keep the same energy with Harden anymore. Because when you're a fan, you're a fan. That's all I mean.
It's weird that this is the spin that you've chosen to go with this about James
hey,
Harden.
Listen,
really.
it's not more so a take, more so it's man to man. You can't fall off on your guys.
No, man to man, I'm gonna tell you that I never fell off on Harden. I'm still a fan of Harden.
Joel,
I was watching him.
Joel, don't lie. Joel, did he fall off on Harden? Yes or no, in your opinion?
He used to be his favorite player.
But what's falling off though? What's falling off? What's that definition? I never stopped liking Harden. What Drew thinks is he thinks I fell off because I criticized Harden a couple times. Because what you can never do is be critical of players you like.
That's
you can never
true.
do that.
It's not true.
No, you can't because you never did it with Tua. Not once has he ever done it with
Davis
Tua.
is my second favorite basketball player in the league.
And I absolutely
ripped him out
I'm
the
the
game.
most unbiased analyst in the world. I'm unbiased. And I'm critical when I need to be critical. But you
start your monologue with Kyrie Irving was awesome. Hey, a lot of floaters made by James Harden. We briefly, talk about that. We swiftly move on.
What do you mean? I said it.
Show your brother some love.
What do you mean?
This is the guy that made you really love the game of basketball.
If you guys,
not even
if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, if you guys are watching the playback right now, comment down and tell me, did I not mention Harden's impact in the fourth quarter? Because I most certainly did.
It was a sentence.
The comments have said you've fallen off for your James Harden love.
He's not my favorite player in the league anymore. He's not.
That we knew.
My two favorite players are Luka and Anthony Edwards.
See, you fell off.
I don't. James Harden fell off with me because unlike Riv, his favorite player Steph Curry has not fallen off to that degree yet. You with LeBron James is still a top 5 player in the world. James Harden has fallen off with me because the players I like and have become my favorite have become better. So naturally, I'm more amped up to watch those players.
So you're saying you're only there for when they're great. You're not there for when they're falling off.
Now when they're in the mud. Talk, Riv. Talk.
It's not that. It's that I like watching these players more now because they're better. That's why I like watching Luka on a night-to-night basis and Ant-Man more than Harden. But I still like watching Harden. He's still one of my favorites. He's just not my favorite at the top anymore.
Isn't it crazy? Harden went out there and outdid his new favorite
It's just
player
like Riv. I'm sure you used to be the biggest Derrick Rose fan on the planet.
100%.
When he started to fall off, did you not start to have new players to root for?
Cam Reddish.
Exactly.
Whoa.
That's exactly how it is.
Let me ask you a question. Steph Curry took over as number one. No, understandably. Don't talk about him.
Steph took over number one like in 2015, 2016.
So number 2 is Paul George, or is it?
Fuck what we doing? Yeah. Those two can never be replaced now. It's like they're locked in, bro. Go ahead, Del. Speak on what you.
Here we go. Great game. I'm glad we have this kind of 2-on-2 rivalry that's turned here with the Clippers and the Mavericks. Not something I was expecting when we did our preseason expectations, because I didn't even think the Mavericks were going to be this good, and they're pretty damn good. But this was a really fun game. Dallas has definitely played with their food this series, and Mavericks fans were not happy when I said that because they're like, but the Celtics lost game 2 without Jimmy Butler. And I'm like, yeah, and that wasn't a good thing. Like, I wasn't sitting here saying like, good job, Celtics, for losing that game. But it really feels like they're playing with their food a bit, that you're losing both your games without Kawhi, especially this game at home. I think game 1, not to give them an excuse, but I think maybe you could look past it. First game of the series, you're on the road. You could kind of be like, okay, we split in LA, so it's fine. But to lose game 4 at home, and the way the crowd was going, when this was a 22-point game, it felt like it was the fourth quarter with 4 minutes left, the way the crowd was going. Every shot seemed huge. Every steal, every 3 felt like a huge momentum swing. But you do have to give credit to the Clippers because, Riv, you mentioned it, that I mentioned on last episode, that the Mavericks have been the best clutch team in basketball, and the Clippers have been one of the better clutch teams. They were top 10 in terms of regular season rankings, but they weren't as dominant as the Mavericks. And to take just punch after punch on the road where it felt like momentum was not going your way for a majority of this second half, because you're up by 30 points. And once you get to that 30-point cushion, you feel like, okay, we could kind of coast our way through this game and probably get the W. it's hard to turn off that mode from going for we could coast the rest of this game to, okay, no, we got a game here. It's a 10-point game. And once you get into 10 points in today's NBA, it might as well be a one possession game. So credit to them for being able to kind of, switch into a different mode in that second half and specifically in that fourth quarter. I think the biggest issue here, and Joel alluded to it, was how they were guarding James Harden in that fourth quarter. I mean, they're sending the stats in the chat right now, but 5 for 6 in the fourth quarter. All 5 buckets were probably the same, just getting him in a pick and roll, and he's hitting that floater kind of that paint area, and there was no adjustment to it. Having Maxey kind of be your small ball 5 in that situation, I think, was really the detriment to this team, because we know offensively, Mavericks were able to do really whatever they wanted to. Kyrie was phenomenal. You saw Derrick Jones hit some big shots. Luka wasn't efficient, but he hit some threes down the stretch there too. But the way the Mavericks have been winning, or at least the 2 games they've won, were with defense. I mean, they've held the Clippers under 100 points in their 2 victories. It wasn't with Luka and Kyrie combining for 90 points. It was them collectively as a team coming together defensively and really locking up. And when you get off to that slow of a start where the Clippers scored 39 points in the first quarter, where, I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head, but how many threes they hit in that first quarter. They were shooting at an insane clip. They still finished the game shooting 62% from 3, 18 out of 29 from threes, and you had the Mavericks go 11 for 33. It's hard to come back from that when you have such a slow start, and you could play some of the best basketball of the season. In that fourth quarter, I thought Dallas looked really good, especially Kyrie Irving. I mean, that layup he made over 3 defenders, it wasn't like the most like up, down, left, right, but just to hold it there was one of the best finishes I've seen all season long, to get it over 3 defenders. Before. It was fucking crazy.
Shit,
but now we're going back to LA, and I really don't know what to expect from Kawhi Leonard going forward. I'm not expecting him to be out there and playing. If he does play, it's hard to expect him to play at Kawhi Leonard's level. And if I'm being honest, the way the Clippers played this game, if Yes is out for another game, I don't think it's the end of the world. They do feel kind of loose without him out there. I think when Kawhi's on the court, he's not 100% himself. You still probably feel obligated as an offense to run things through Kawhi, make sure Kawhi gets his touches. But if he's not going to be 100%, you're kind of taken away from the offense, especially if James Harden and Paul George are going to play the way they just played. On the opposite side, though, we know Paul George and James Harden, we've seen in this series, could have some really high highs, but they could have some really low lows. This was a game where they both had some really high highs, and they had probably individually their best games of the series. But overall, it feels like this was a missed opportunity by Dallas. That being said, it's still 2-2. It's anyone's series, but Game 5, it's going to be pivotal for both teams.
Bro, Joel, you said something. You said you don't want me to make any excuses earlier before. I want to finish my statement. I don't think both of these teams are that good. I'm just like, objectively speaking, watching this series 4 games in, I think both of these teams have glaring holes. And I think the fact that you're 2-2 and the 2 games you have lost without the other team's best player, it's very alarming for me. Like, and you've started both games down 30. So but I don't think either team, I think both teams have glaring weaknesses, and it's either team is like really not that good. This is just a tale of who's going to outdo one another, honestly. But I think like Dell's mentioned, Kawhi doesn't have to come back Game 5. You're looking at this 2-2. You head back to crypto. You talked about PG and Harden's highs. Their highs have been when he hasn't played. So that's the one thing you can look at and be like, all right, well, if Kawhi's not playing, the offense looks a little bit free-flowing. A lot more guys get open threes. Harden's more aggressive. The aggressive Harden has been able to destroy Dallas. So you kind of want that in that situation. And if Kawhi's not 100%, you've seen in the games, their offense looks stagnant. Defensively, the Dallas have played their best defense in those type of games. So I feel comfortable, man. Game 5 and crypto. We're here. Listen, if Dallas loses to a team that, you know what? I'm going to just wait till after Game 5, man.
Let me ask y'all a question. Kleba over Maxey down the stretch of the game.
What? That's the same person.
I'm sorry. Kleba over Lively. No, forget about Gafford. Kleba, you're right. It is the same person. Sorry about that. Kleba over Lively down the stretch of the game. Are we okay with that solely for the fact that Kleba is a 3-point shooter? Or the way that Lively is able to protect the paint, would we rather him on the court in that situation?
I think it depends. When they were making the comeback, they needed Kleba. You needed to hit threes to and space the floor to come back.
Third, I would have just Lively was huge for that.
I would have simply just switched PJ and put Derrick Jones Jr. on Harden.
I feel like there was too many possessions where the possession started with Luka on Harden, and that should only happen if a switch happens. You could probably count more times where Luka was guarding Harden than PJ was
Harden
as
was
a primary defender in the fourth quarter.
Both of them.
Yeah, he was picking both of them, but with Luka, you knew it was a blow by each time.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
knew
it was. In the screen game, he was looking for both of them.
Yeah,
like he was either PJ or Luka. He wanted either one of them because he knew he had the speed to get past them. And then you just put either Westbrook there or the big man there, right there. You throw the oop or you make the floater. It was easy. Even when before the game, when you saw them sending two at PG or Harden, I love the fact that Ty Lue made the adjustment, had Westbrook in that little mid-range area so he can get it, turn around, make a quick decision. Don't have him thinking too much. It's easily turn around, either go to the rack or throw a oop. It's simple.
The thing with the Mavericks is that they started off slow. I felt like it was a combination of their energy, but also the Clippers were just making shots that, you live with it. The defense they were playing on some of these shots were great, and they still made them. I think in the first half they shot 67% or in the 70 percentile from three. At that rate, there's nothing you can really do about that.
Cap.
But in the second half, I felt like PJ Washington and Derrick Jones Jr., they really played great defense. Derrick Jones Jr., I thought was huge this game. He made some really great threes and was slashing to the basket. The adjustment was to put a rim protector late in that game. But I still think the Mavericks could have won if Luka plays better. I think Luka did not play good enough. And it's on both sides. It's on defense and it's on offense. It's on defense where there's a missed rotation and Luka is pointing at somebody and complaining to his teammates or his body language. He's kind of sulking. He just, the body language just doesn't look good. And in those moments, I just want Luka to just say to himself, all right, next play, I don't need to make a big deal out of this moment. I just got to keep on going. And I felt like too many times he would complain about sometimes missed rotations on his end. He's leaving Terrence Mann open in the corner who just hit a three, and he's looking around like, oh, God damn it, how was he so open? And it's like, well, that's your guy. Like, you're supposed to make a better effort to go guard him. I think Luke has to play better. We were not expecting in this series for Luka to be like the third best player in it. Kyrie has been more consistent. James Harden has been better this series so far. Luka's kind of been that third. I don't think Luka has been by far and away the best player in the series, and that's what he has to be because he was the MVP for the majority of the season, or he finished top 3 MVP for a majority of the season. That's what he should be, and he got to play that way.
I think that's tough because I think, well, first of all, credit to Ty Lue and Terrence Mann and the defensive scheme that they've been putting in place. This is probably the worst we've seen offensively, just from a scoring aspect from Luka
no doubt.
in all the playoffs. I do think it's a combination of like him being a little banged up, of course, him, like you said, his body language, him complaining to the refs after every single play. Like, bro, just keep playing, keep hooping. I don't know if I would say he's been the third, but I think Kyrie has had better quarters. I don't know if he's had a better, game 1 to game 4.
Painful, bro. 38% from the field, 26% from 3, 80% from the free throw, 50% true shooting. That's not Luka. That hasn't been what Luka's been all season.
No,
first
Kyrie.
Sorry,
40
Joel.
This game.
I have the first half numbers. The Clippers were 14 of 21 from 3, 67%. Second half, they were 4 for 8 from 3. So still shot 50%, but they weren't shooting as many
Less
shots.
clip. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This has been the Clippers all year, man. They get hot. They're one of the best teams in the league. They get cold. They are garbage.
Yeah, and I think if you're a Mavericks fan, you're still waiting on that offensive explosion. You got it from Kyrie today. You're waiting on that from Luka. There hasn't been a vintage Luka game. He's had moments, but there hasn't been that game where it's like, oh my goodness, Luka he took over the entire game. He has 40. He's gonna have 50. There hasn't been that game yet, and definitely credit to the Clippers. They're playing him very physical. They are getting 2 on the ball with him, but I don't think they're doubling him so much to the point that he doesn't have enough opportunities to go one-on-one and take advantage of those. I think him knowing that his 3-point shot has not been falling, he has to attack the basket more because he was efficient when he was attacking the basket in that mid-range area. So I think now moving forward, it's about getting himself going early in the paint and then moving to the 3-point line once he finds a little bit of a rhythm. But this series is going to be great, man. We'll see what happens next time when they play the Clippers in LA.
2 days, right?
Becton's going to the Eagles. He's about to be an All-Pro.
Mekhi Becton?
Yeah.
Really?
John Franklin Myers got traded to the Broncos. I was stunned.
Yum.
Wait,
yum.
what did
Just
we
now,
give
I
up?
just got a notification.
What did we give up?
No, he's a free agent.
Really?
Yo, Riv, and y'all drafted Johnny Wilson. I wish any other team but you guys drafted him, actually.
What's his player comp? What is he?
He's big as fuck with no hands, but he's fast.
What are we doing with him?
That's what I'm saying. I wish anybody but you guys got him.
I saw we got the allegedly the white Jackie Robinson. We're here.
They get Cooper.
Yeah.
They get Cooper. And you got Quinyon.
It's up in the stock. I'll tell you that.
Quinyon and Cooper, Howie Roseman.
I tried to tell you I don't
He's a
sleep
goat.
on him, man. I'm going back to the bowl, man. I can't wait.
We'll see about that.
You
guys always find a way to choke.
Are the Jets going to make the playoffs for the first time in a long time?
If we're healthy, absolutely we will.
Oh, if you're what?
First
If we're
time in a long
healthy.
time is right.
Hate
If
that.
Hate
we're
that.
healthy.
Long time.
There's certain
I'm playing the
levels
long
here.
game.
Stick to get to the playoffs.
More than just the playoffs, bro.
We're gonna record a podcast tomorrow. We're gonna have a mix of NFL and NBA stuff. Definitely gotta start getting back with the NFL stuff. There's a lot to talk about. This is the time.
I need your Suns to get swept tonight, so we can talk about that tomorrow. I'm excited for that. I need that badly, actually.
Well, that series is essentially over already.
It is over.
Even if the Suns win tonight, it's over.
It's cool.
It's over.
The
New York Knicks
gonna get it done. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
beat the Sixers 97-92. Jalen Brunson 47 points, 10 assists. Last 2 games, he's been out of this world. He willed us to victory in this one. Deuce McBride's contributions off the bench, man, hitting a fury of threes once he comes in the game. OG Anunoby's elite defense. Jalen Brunson deserves all the credit in the world. You guys know that I was high on him when he came to the Knicks. I thought he was going to be a great player. Not this. All NBA, leading us to the playoffs, willing us through playoff series. We've built the perfect roster that complements his skill set. And this is the most success the Knicks have had in consecutive seasons since he's been here. And it's all a credit to what he's brought to us. Watching this game, I was upset because I felt like Embiid was at it with his antics again. I'm glad that we had the last laugh. Embiid hit Brunson on kind of like a screen, a cheap shot. And then he fell. Well, no, he didn't fall on Josh Hart, but he kind of stepped on his leg or ankle. Didn't look intentional. Yeah. It's kind of like a subtle thing. I'm not sure if it was intentional, but listen, there are so many things that he's done coincidentally. I can't give him the benefit of the doubt for it being an accident anymore. But I'm just glad, man. Joel Embiid played a fine game, but in the fourth quarter, he was gassed out. And I feel like we got them right where we want them. Nick Nurse cannot sit Joel Embiid, because whenever he sits Joel Embiid, whatever lead they create evaporates quickly. In the fourth quarter, he kept Embiid in the game, and because he was so tired, he was ineffective. And that's the dilemma Nick Nurse is dealing with right now, is that he just cannot get a productive lineup if Embiid is not out there on the floor.
It was always Knicks in 5, man. It was always Knicks in 5. First of all, credit to Tyrese Maxey. That boy is definitely a dog. Love the way he played. Tweeted this. I think he's like the perfect number 2 option for anybody that has a prime guy and they're looking for a guard to, get them to a championship. I think he can play that type of role just because he doesn't need the ball. It doesn't stick. Great shooter. Has a toolbox to him. Great at slashing. Great in transition. And B, like you mentioned, he played a fine game. I thought in the fourth quarter, once again, gassed out, tired, looked a little heavy sometimes, jogging up the court, wasn't as engaged. I thought even though they lost the minutes without Embiid, they still had a run. Even when Embiid got in the game, they still had a run. They was up 8 or 9 a few times throughout the game. That fourth quarter, to me, what won you out of the game is the scrappiness and the physicality. OG on the boards, Josh Hart on the boards, Deuce McBride making plays. I thought you guys just the others just did all the little dirty things that their star player didn't need to do. Just go get a bucket. We'll handle this on the defensive end. And I thought it was a perfect parent. I thought even though they sat Hartenstein, you put OG on Embiid, you had pressures out there. He was getting offensive rebounds. It was just the extra effort that I thought Philly did not show in the fourth quarter. And I thought that was the turn of the game. I thought New York just came and they wanted it more. Wow. That was a little crazy. But I thought New York just they wanted to win more for sure. And credit to New York because this team is built on the grit. This team is built on the grind. And I think you have Jalen Brunson at the top, like you mentioned, Joel, breaking Bernard King's record, one of the legends of the game. A lot of you youngins don't know about him in the comments, but breaking Bernard King's record, he gets all the credit in the world. But for those others and the way Thibodeau was coaching this game up, this Knicks team is definitely scary.
So I'm watching this Jalen Brunson masterclass, and it really did dawn on me that Jalen Brunson is actually a fringe top 10 player in the NBA. It's kind of insane to me how Joel, you hit it so perfectly on the nose. We understood that the Knicks always needed a point guard, and Jalen Brunson coming in, even though people may have felt at the time that $25 million for over 4 seasons was going to be a bad contract. We're looking at that contract as one of the greatest ever given to a basketball player in NBA history, truthfully. The fact that Jalen Brunson has ascended into all NBA conversations, the fact that it's almost a lock at this point, we're talking about guaranteed a top 20 player in the NBA. Honestly, it's getting to a point where he's a guaranteed top 15 player in the NBA. And now in the biggest moments in the playoff situation, he struggled in those first 2 games at MSG. The role players had his back. They picked him up and they were still able to crawl and scratch and win those games. Now on the road, game 3, he goes out there and has his best games in a losing effort. That's unfortunate. Joel Embiid masterclass, 50 points. But then today, to go, you were down 12 at one point. You continue to hit big shot after big shot. You continue to be aggressive. 47 points to go and bring the New York Knicks to a 3-1 lead. Now, I look at Joel Embiid and down the stretch of this game, especially when Isaiah picked up his 5th foul in the 3rd quarter, I'm anticipating, hey, this is their time for the Sixers to go ahead and take this game, tie this series up 2-2, because now we're dropping to Precious Achiuwa, and Achiuwa in the regular season has been great, but against Joel Embiid, that's obviously not a great matchup whatsoever. But the fact that in the 4th quarter, you guys mentioned it, he is getting gas, and that is something that you can anticipate when you miss so many months of the season that your body's not in playoff condition and not in basketball condition. It gets to a point where you need your other guys to step up. And Maxey, yeah, he's been doing the job as much as he can, but not as efficient today. We saw Kelly Oubre go ahead and hit some big-time shots. Where the hell is your $40 million man in Tobias Harris? This guy, unfortunately, it seems as if we always talk about Embiid. We always talk about Maxey. We were talking about Harden. We never talk about Tobias Harris. And it's unfortunate also if you're a Sixers fan because you have Tobias Harris and you've had to stick with Tobias Harris. Can you guys stop, please? You guys all right? And I'm trying to do my job.
Sorry.
Now I lost my fucking train of thought. Here we go.
You're a Sixers fan.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because Jimmy Butler was on the squad and they decided to choose Tobias Harris over Jimmy. You see what Jimmy has been able to do over there in Miami. No championship, but is obviously elevated come playoff time. Simply the complete polar opposite with Tobias Harris. That's what I struggle with. Understanding that the Knicks, I did feel that they were the better team coming in. They were the more healthy team coming in. Joel Embiid has been amazing in his own right, and I give him a lot of credit for that, where he did come back on short notice and still has been able to play high-level basketball. But down the 4th quarter of these games, they simply haven't had a closer. And the Knicks are just a gritty, hard-nosed group that when their best player is on, they're probably going to win ball games. But let me ask you, are we having a serious conversation about Jalen Brunson being stamped top 10 in the NBA?
Well, this season he's a top 10 player. He's a top 8 point guard this season.
He's top 10 for sure.
At the end of the season, is Jalen Brunson considered a top 10 player? Would you take Jalen Brunson over Devin Booker?
Ooh,
probably.
Ooh, that's a spicy one.
I think that's a close one. This is a thing, and I feel for Devin Booker. He's had a terrible series, but I also can't ignore the fact that I know how he looks like when the Suns ask him to play his role.
Agreed.
I know what he could provide. This season, they bring in Bradley Beal. You bring in KD last year, but mostly it's the Bradley Beal addition. And he's had to change his play style. His entire career, he's been a shooting guard. This year, it's okay, now you got to be the point guard. And now he has to worry about facilitating. So he doesn't have his normal play style that he's accustomed to where he's at his best. So I feel like right now, Devin Booker's in a situation where he's not being utilized to be at his best because of the supporting cast around him, where Brunson is being maximized to be the decision maker for the Knicks all the time.
So in
Devin
short,
Booker at his best, is he an all NBA first teamer? Because that's what Jalen Brunson is flirting with this year.
I think at his best, he can be in that conversation.
I think so too.
You could have definitely made the argument when they won 66 games. He could have been all NBA first team.
For sure. Are we taking Jalen Brunson over Kawhi Leonard at the end of this season?
I mean, you can't count on Kawhi. He's not healthy.
Yeah. The sad part about it is if you're telling me he's going to guarantee play, I would say no. But there's no guarantee he's going to play.
Kevin Durant.
No.
I would take AD.
Anthony Edwards.
Take AD too.
Ooh.
No.
I think I'd slightly take Brunson.
Tough.
I think I would probably go Ant-Man. But, damn, Brunson, I mean, that's not a slight to Brunson. It's just understanding Ant on both sides.
I think end of this season, it's Brunson. End of next season, it's Ant.
Okay.
I think Brunson has put himself in the top 3-point guard conversation. It's Luka, SGA, and then it's him, number 3. This season, it has been.
Steph.
I know Steph off of history. He's been better, of course.
The second half of
the year
was not great.
Top 4 Steph.
But this year, Jalen Brunson was better.
Is John Morant better than Brunson?
What's the question? Is top 10 this year or top 10 in general?
A top 10 player in the NBA.
I hate when we do
I'm not
this.
asking at the end of this year.
Because you can't even ask John Morant because he didn't play this year.
That's what I'm asking. Would you take John Morant or Jalen Brunson?
I would take John Morant.
That's a close call too. I would go with Brunson.
Nuts.
I'd probably go Brunson.
Nuts. See, this
is nuts. He just had 47.
I don't know how that's
nuts. Jalen Brunson's out here performing in the playoffs too. He's performing in the playoffs.
I promise.
I would go Ja, but it's not crazy.
I promise y'all, if Ja played this year, y'all wouldn't have thought about it.
I'm not saying
I
wouldn't have thought about it.
I think you still think about it.
I don't think you'd have thought about it. I think if Ja played
this year. If Ja is clear in a way better than Brunson, he's an MVP this year. If it's clear, he's MVP.
He's right.
Because SGA is clear, he's MVP.
Brunson was a top 5
MVP. Top 5, top 6 MVP candidate. That's a fact.
Ja can get there for sure.
I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying like that's the type of year he would have had to be like, we're not even thinking about it.
What was Brunson's numbers this year?
28-6.
I think it was like 28-7.
Ja just did that last year. What are you talking about?
28-7-4.
I'm 99% sure
he averaged 29
He also
and
shot
7.
48% from field and 40% from 3.
Ja not giving that.
Ja would never shoot that.
Rounding it is he averaged 29. He averaged
27. Thank you.
So we went from 27, 28 to 29. No, he's 29 points per game. Facts.
We'll see next year.
I think it's a conversation. That's just how good Jalen Brunson's been. I mean,
bro, I think Ja's a better player, but I get what you're saying. I guess
it's close. Shout out to OG Anunoby in this game too. I thought OG for a large part of the series has kind of maybe not known exactly where he's fit offensively. I think the fact that he got 16 shots up today, shot 50%. The fact that he looked just a bit more comfortable out there on offense. We know defensively he's going to be able to do great, especially in that fourth quarter on Embiid. Once Hartenstein went out and he got 5 fouls in the third quarter, which was crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen that in one quarter. I thought OG did a great job. When Precious had to come in for some of his minutes, he did a pretty strong job on him too. It's so funny game to game how much things can change because after Thursday's game, when Embiid goes and drops 50, it's 2-1. Feels like they have momentum now. You have Mitchell Robinson's injury. It feels like everything was going to go back the Sixers' way and it's going to get tied 2-2 going back to New York. But this was a statement win. There was multiple swings in this game, especially in that fourth quarter where it looked like Philly was taking over, where they were getting some big baskets, getting out in transition. But every time Brunson was able to go down there, they were able to walk him down. And it is crazy to think what this Knicks team is like when it's really just one creator out there right now. When Jalen Brunson, I know he didn't have a good first 2 games, but like ultimately big picture of like the Knicks eventually make the ECF or something. A lot of games and a lot of halves are going to look like this, where Jalen Brunson is taking 34 shots, where he's dropping 30 plus, giving you 40 balls, because he's really the only person out there that can consistently create his own offense. It just goes to show how much he's improved, how great of a scorer he is, how great like his gravity too, just and pick and roll, being able to maneuver in and out of different lanes. I mean, we know how great he is. The other side of the story, though, is Joel Embiid. And again, he's dealing with a lot, the knee injury, the Bell's palsy. So I think everything you have to say has to be taken with a grain of salt, but he struggled a ton in this fourth quarter, really all series. Mikey put out the numbers about how terrible he's been in the fourth quarter, but we also have game by game. Game 1, 0 for 5 in the fourth. Game 2, 2 of 6. Game 3, only 1 of 2. And then game 4, 0 of 5, 3 of 18 overall from the field. I think as the game goes on, you kind of see him laboring a bit more when he's taking some of those hits, when he's jumping, in the fourth quarter this time, he's jumped 50 times throughout the game. You can see it's definitely taking a toll on him. And I don't know why his decision was, I'm going to pass up this wide open mid-range shot that I've been hitting pretty consistently throughout this game. Yeah, and he went and took the ball to the basket and took a contested layup. If he would have went down there and yammed it, listen, if he's 100% healthy, maybe that's what he does. But I was shocked that in that moment, when there's only, 10, 12 seconds, there wasn't a lot of time on the clock. You need baskets quick. I was very surprised Joel Embiid passed up that jump shot to go with the contested shot. Josh Hart gets the rebounds. Josh Hart's another player that I want to shout out to, because really tough game offensively. 0 for 7, had a few turnovers, 5 turnovers, only had 5 points. But Josh Hart's a player that he could be doing terrible offensively, but defensively he's going to show up. On the glass he's going to show up. He had 17 rebounds today. OG as well, 14 rebounds. The Knicks have been all season long just figuring out ways to kind of win ball games night in, night out. Ball games would be crazy. Ball games night in and night out. Just different guys stepping up. Deuce today hitting some shots off the bench. But they have a really good ability to, when we need some buckets, Jalen Brunson, you could give us these 40 balls. Brunson, you're not playing well today. All right, Dante's going to give me some buckets. Deuce going to give me some buckets. Bogey, when he was healthy, he went out early in this game, but he was healthy. He was hitting some shots earlier in this series. And then you have that closer and Jalen Brunson, who in the fourth quarter, there's not a lot of guys I'm trusting more right now. So to me, he's stamped top 10 in the NBA. That top 3 point guard situation is close. Top 4 stamped. I think I'm with you. Steph Curry and him are still neck and neck. I know Steph is kind of coming off a down year, but I also just look at that situation he's in and feel like I don't know if Brunson's going to do what he's doing in New York if he was in Golden State.
Question.
That's fair.
Question. Wait, so Joel, you took Ant over Brunson, right?
Yes.
So are you saying Ant's better than Ja?
Yes.
I'm just cashing receipts.
Is that insane?
We've been on that.
I just want to see where you're at with it. That's all. I just want to see where you're at.
We've been on that.
I'm there with that too. I think I would take Ant over Ja too.
Right.
Hey, fellas, I have a little game for you guys before we go. I'm gonna post this in a playback chat. It's gonna be a poll. Who are you taking? Are you taking player A, 12 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 12 assists on 38.9% shooting from the field, 25% from 3 turnovers per game, or player B, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 12 assists on 41% from the field, 22.7% from 3 turnovers per game?
Well, they both suck. So
still isn't, I was gonna say this is the battle of the mids.
Player B.
I mean, I was gonna say you're getting 4 more assists.
Probably
this
B,
is a trick, obviously.
They both suck.
You're going to go with B, and it's going to be someone that we're not anticipating. Who is it?
Player B is Tyrese Haliburton in the first 3 games of the Bucks series. Player A is Steve Nash in his first 3 playoff games after he won MVP in 2005.
Player B is playing the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks of 2024.
Just saying. He's right on track. That comparison is valid.
Can you just
those numbers are not good. I don't want those numbers. I don't care if it's Steve Nash or not.
Alone, please leave him alone.
Are those numbers not comparable? First 3 games, Tyrese got the edge by a little bit. He's on the right raceway. That's all I'm saying.
This is embarrassing.
That's all I'm saying.
This is honestly help, brother.
Listen, one day you're gonna respect Tyrese Haliburton.
I do.
That shot was tough.
I do respect him.
He's got 6
It
points.
doesn't seem like you do.
Why do you
Okay.
know?
He's got 6
All
points right
right.
now.
We're here.
Like I told you
Let's
before,
go.
Joel. Like I told you before, bro. We just have a different idea of where he is. That's why you think I lack respect, and that always happens with our debates. I don't think a person is what you think it is, so I'm disrespecting them.
You would take Garland over Hallie?
No, not right now. No. Mm-mm.
Good on you.
Tyrese finished 9th in PER this past season.
I don't give a fuck about
top 10
PER.
most efficient
I
player
just want you to know
in the
that
league this year.
I don't care about PER.
And you know, even with his numbers dropping off after he got hurt, the Pacers offense still top of the league. He's a team player.
Rick Carlisle is a great coach.
No, it's Tyrese. Give credit to Tyrese.
TJ McConnell was doing his thing.
No.
He was.
He was doing his thing.
Yeah. Don't say
don't discredit Tyrese now. Everything when it comes to Tyrese, Rick Carlisle, so great.
No, it's every time
he's the guy making these assists.
You don't give the coach no credit. You really don't.
I do, but you're not trying to give Tyrese no credit and give Carlisle all the credit.
Nah, Hallie's a good player. He's an all-star level player.
I feel like you've essentially told me, maybe not literally, but in
literally
in context that you've kind of insinuated that anybody could step in Tyrese's role and get those assists.
No, I'd never said that. You're just making that up in your head.
I don't know, bro. You're saying that TJ McConnell has shown you similar things.
No.
I've said
he plays well in that system. That's an obvious troll. No, I don't think. Maybe only 3 guards can maybe do what Tyrese is doing. What, 20 and 10? Come on, what are we doing here? I think like 2 or 3 can do that.
But look, shout out to DCFNF. Look at those last 30.
There's point guards that do that on the left side for a season. There's like 1 point guard, maybe 2 that does that for a season.
That's pretty rare company, yeah.
Yeah. Trae Young does that all year. So not the splits.
Not the splits.
But he'll do the little 27s and 10s and stuff. For the right side, I know a lot of guards that can do that though. 17 and 9. Yeah. I think
that's prime Garland. That's prime Garland right there.
No, prime Garland is 21 and 7.
Is that Drew Holiday?
I think Drew did that 1 year, 17 and 9. I think maybe
17 and 10. That's 17 and 10. 9.8 assists, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll give you the right assist
this season.
Drew never had 10. Good God. Yeah. No, never had. So wait, where do you Joel ranking? Because Hallie's probably going to make All NBA this year. All NBA is a cute little award, helps your money get up. But where do you have Hallie ranked in the league, man? Because now all of a sudden Brunson's top 10. The Dells, Hallie's where you got him at?
Well, Haliburton is easily a top 20 player in the league.
Top 20. Okay.
Yeah, he easily.
I think it's up. Yeah.
Easily.
Victor Wembanyama or Tyrese Haliburton?
It's Wemby.
Yeah. You think it's easy? You think Hallie's easily top 20 in the NBA, the Basketball Association?
Yeah, pretty much easily.
It's not even
Jalen Brown. Tyrese Haliburton.
I think Tyrese Haliburton is better because I think he could run an offense better. I love De'Aaron Fox, but their offensive hub has been Sabonis. I think Fox is the most explosive scorer. He's the best scorer on the team, but Sabonis is the hub that they run their entire offense through.
Oh, Jalen Brown. Oh, Jalen Brown too.
They do different things. Definitely.
But in the top 20, a lot of people are going to do different things.
Donovan can do both. He can play make and go get a bucket. Jalen Brown can go get a bucket and play defense. Hallie can go play make.
A lot of players in the league. Saying he's not top 20 is not a slight. Saying that Jalen Brown's outside the top 20 is not a slight.
I heard it really loud.
Tune in. Yeah,
I was going to say top 20 easily is fake crazy. It's fake a little crazy. There's a lot of players in the league.
No, I think it's pretty easily. It's a top 20 player. He was 9th in PER.
Stop. Enough with the PER, please.
That's a great stat. All right, bro, you know what? It's not a coincidence that all the top players in the league are the best at that.
Who are the top 8 in PER? Look that up real quick, just real fast.
You know who's 6th in PER amongst all point guards?
Here we go. Do it.
TJ McConnell. Who would have thought?
Look, I'm trying to tell you. You're not listening.
But it's a steep drop off, though.
It is. Tyrese is at 23.5 PER. TJ's at 21.1.
The fact that he's at 21.
So number 1 is Embiid. Okay. Number 2 is Jokic. Number 3 is Giannis. Number 4 is SGA. Number 5 is Luka. Number 6 is AD. Number 7 is LeBron. Number 8 is Brunson. Number 9 is Haliburton. And 10 is Porzingis.
Porzingis is the top 10 player in the league. I was waiting for a random name.
Sir.
11 is Kawhi. 12 Sabonis. 13 Wemby. 14 Andre Drummond. 15 Zion.
Over Hallie.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Haliburton's not
Andre Drummond.
Haliburton's not one of those outliers, though. He's not one of those outliers. He's
know,
like,
of course not. You named the first 8 dudes. It seemed like an outlier to me. You went from LeBron, you said Luka, SJ, and then you said Hallie. Big drop off, but who am I? Just a guy.
Put some respect on his goddamn name, man.
Listen, man, he's going to go to the next round, so congrats to him. He'll play the Knicks. That'll be a big test. That'll be guard versus guard. I'm excited to see that, see how he plays.
We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to do record a full-length podcast, NFL, some NBA. It'll be out Monday night or Tuesday morning, one of those. Usually we've been uploading them at like 3 a.m. So if you're a late bird, I know a lot of people work the graveyard shift. They've been listening to the podcast when they dropped. It'll be out around that time or earlier. Thank you guys for watching, recapping the best 2 games that happened Sunday. And we'll see you guys next time.